Marriage is sweet, they say, but sometimes one useless sentence from a man's mouth can turn sweet marriage into war zone. Today, we're entering the house of Zion and wonder. And by the time we finish, you will understand why some men should just learn to keep quiet. Wanda is a woman who irons her wrapper before she even irons her husband's shirt. Everything about her is neat, calm, and calculated. She doesn't shout. She doesn't throw plates. When Wanda is angry, Wanda becomes dangerously polite. That polite tone, that is the one you should fear. Zion, her husband, is a man who talks first and thinks maybe 3 days later. He works as a sales manager in Lagos. He earns well. He loves his wife, but the man has a mouth wahala. He compares. He compares food. He compares fashion. And one unfortunate Sunday evening, he compared women. It happened after dinner. Wanda had cooked ogbono soup with the kind of dedication that deserved an award. Zion ate 2 rounds, dropped his spoon, leaned back on the chair and said the 7 words that changed everything. Favor used to make this better, Sha. Silence. The kind of silence that has thunder hiding inside it. Wanda didn't scream. She didn't even blink twice. She simply picked up the plates, walked to the kitchen, washed them slowly, dried her hands and said, okay. Just okay. Now, if you know anything about Nigerian wives, you will know that okay from a calm woman is not agreement, it is a receipt. It means the matter has been recorded, stamped and filed under payback coming soon.
Zion, being a man who does not read the room, actually felt relieved. He thought, she's matured, she didn't even quarrel. That same night, he slept like a baby who just escaped Sunday school. Wanda had always been the type to remember things. Years ago, back when Zion and she were still dating, she'd once come across old photos of Zion and a girl from his university days on a mutual friend's page. Laughing, comfortable, familiar. She'd saved the name quietly at the time, the way careful women sometimes do, never thinking she'd need it. Tonight, she finally did. She opened Instagram and searched. Favor's profile came up immediately. Wanda tapped message. Wanda typed a message sweeter than honey. Hi Favor, it's Wanda, Zion's wife. I would love for us to finally meet properly. Please come for dinner this Saturday. Zion has told me so much about you. Favor, reading that message from her own house, nearly dropped her phone. She hadn't spoken to Zion in years and she had no idea his wife even knew her name, let alone followed her online. And now his wife was inviting her to dinner? Something was not adding up, but curiosity is a strong drug. And Favor typed back, I'll be there. For the rest of that week, Favor found herself unable to concentrate properly at work. She kept wondering what kind of woman invites her husband's ex over for dinner. She even called her best friend Chidima to gist her about the strange invitation. Are you mad? Don't go, Chidima had warned, phone pressed to her ear while doing her nails. That woman is planning something. No wife invites her husband's ex for just tea and small talk. I know, Favor had replied, already pulling out 3 different dresses from her wardrobe to consider. But I'm going anyway. I need to see what kind of family man Zion turned into. If wahala is coming, at least let me look good in the photos. Meanwhile, on Zion's side, the week passed in blissful, foolish ignorance. He noticed Wanda was slightly quieter than usual, but he mistook her calm for peace. He even bragged to his friend Tobina at work about how mature his wife was. Some women will fight you over nothing, Zion had said, chest out, proud. My wife is different. I said one small thing, she didn't even argue. Tobina, a man who had been married 11 years and had the scars to prove it, simply shook his head slowly. Zion, my brother, when your wife stops arguing, that is not peace. That is the calm before the flood. Whatever you said, better start praying." Zion laughed it off. He, of all people, married to Wanda, the calmest woman in Lagos. Nothing could go wrong. But by Friday night, though, small cracks of doubt started creeping into Zion's confidence. Wanda had started humming while cooking, cheerful, almost too cheerful, and twice he caught her smiling at her phone in a way that made his stomach tighten for no reason he could explain. He nearly asked her what was going on, but each time she looked up at him with such warmth and innocence that he convinced himself he was imagining things. "Baby, we should invite someone for dinner tomorrow," Wanda mentioned casually while folding laundry. "I feel like entertaining."
"Oh, okay, no problem. Who?" Zion asked, barely looking up from his phone. "You see," Wanda said, smiling to herself in a way Zion would only understand the true meaning of 24 hours later. Saturday came quicker than Zion's small brain could process what was happening. He walked into the sitting room that evening and nearly fainted when he saw the table. Well arranged, small candles, jollof rice, grilled chicken, chin-chin for dessert, a fresh tablecloth Wanda had been saving for special occasions. This was not normal Saturday dinner. This was a production. "Baby, what's the occasion?" he asked, already sweating slightly because a man's spirit always knows when trouble is approaching before his brain catches up. Wanda smiled. "I invited a guest, someone special to you." Before Zion could ask who, the doorbell rang. He opened the door and his soul left his body temporarily. Standing there in a red dress that meant business was Favor. "Favor?" Zion's voice cracked like a boy whose voice hadn't finished changing. "Hi, Zion," Favor said, smiling the smile of a woman who came prepared for war but dressed like she came for peace. Wanda appeared behind him, all smiles, arms wide open. "Favor, welcome, oh, come in, food is ready." Zion stood at that doorway like a man watching his own funeral being planned in real time. His hand actually trembled slightly as he stepped aside to let Favor in, his brain racing through every possible way this evening could end. None of them good. They sat at the table. Wanda served everyone personally, laughing, asking Favor about her job, her family, complimenting her dress. Zion sat there eating rice he could not taste, sweating like he was doing manual labor under the Lagos sun. Every time Wanda passed him a dish, he flinched slightly, like a man expecting the plate itself to explode. "So, Favor," Wanda said sweetly, passing the chicken plate. "Zion told me you used to cook for him back then. He said your ogbono was better than mine." Favor choked slightly on her rice. She looked at Zion. Zion looked at his plate like it contained the answers to all life's problems. He said that?" Favor asked carefully. "Yes, so," Wanda continued, voice smooth like Zobo drink. "In fact, he said a lot of things were better with you. So I thought, why not invite the expert herself so I can learn?" The room temperature dropped. Zion's fork made a small, guilty sound against his plate. Favor, now understanding the real assignment, decided two could play this game. "Well," she said, straightening her back, "Zion did always love how I season things, but that was 2 years ago. People change." "No problem," Wanda said sweetly, standing up and untying her apron from the back of her chair before Favor could even finish enjoying her own bluff. "Since the expert is around, let the expert show us. My kitchen is right there. Cook us some ogbono tonight, the very thing my husband said you did better, and let's all taste it together." Favor's smile froze halfway on her face. "Oh, no. I mean, I'm a guest. It wouldn't be right for me to just take over your kitchen." "Nonsense," Wanda said, already pulling out the chair for her. "You are not a stranger. Zion practically told me you are family." Then, like the universe wanted to add extra pepper to the soup, the front door opened without a knock, and in walked Zion's mother, Mama Rebecca, carrying a nylon bag of ugu leaves she said she wanted to drop off. Mama Rebecca took one look at the table, her son sweating like a man on trial, his wife standing with an apron in hand, and a strange, beautiful woman in a red dress looking like she wanted to sink into the floor, and her spiritual radar activated immediately. "Wonder, who is this one?" Mama Rebecca asked, dropping the ugu bag on the table like evidence at a crime scene. "Mama, this is Favor, Zion's ex-girlfriend. Apparently, she used to make ogbono better than mine, so I've invited her to prove it in my own kitchen tonight." You would have to see Mama Rebecca's face. Her eyes moved from Favor to Zion to the apron in Wanda's hand, calculating everything like a woman running mental accounts. "Better cook? Then make she cook now, make we see. I never taste anything since morning, and I like to judge things with my own mouth, not with gist."
"Mama, please, this isn't necessary," Zion started. "Necessary or not," Mama Rebecca said, already rolling up her sleeves and marching toward the kitchen like she owned it. "Somebody in this house said this woman's hand is sweeter than my daughter-in-law. Today, we will find out with our own eyes, not with rumor. Favor, come, make I show you where the pepper is, since you don't look like person wey sabi where anything dey for another woman kitchen." Favor, cornered by two women who were clearly not going to let this go, forced a smile and followed Mama Rebecca into the kitchen, Wanda trailing behind with her arms folded and a look of pure, patient satisfaction. What happened in that kitchen over the next 20 minutes could only be described as chaos in slow motion. Favor, who had spent the last 2 years ordering food delivery more than she had ever touched a cooker, stood frozen in front of the gas burner, holding a handful of ogbono seeds like they were a foreign object recovered from a crime scene. She turned them over in her calm, squinted at them, and asked with total sincerity, "Is this one we're supposed to blend, or does it just melt on its own?" Mama Rebecca nearly fainted where she stood. She had no idea the seeds needed grinding first, so she dropped them whole into the pot, assuming heat alone would sort things out. She dumped in too much water to help it cook faster, she explained, and forgot the palm oil entirely until Mama Rebecca practically shoved the bottle into her hand, muttering, "Ogbono without palm oil? You want to give my son porridge and call it soup?" Favor, flustered, then poured in so much oil at once that it sat on top of the water in a thick orange puddle, refusing to mix, looking less like soup and more like a small chemical spill. Somewhere in the middle of it all, she added the pepper before anything else had even started to thicken, then panicked at the smell and added even more pepper to balance it out. A decision Mama Rebecca watched unfold with the slow, horrified fascination of someone watching a car reverse into a ditch in real time. At one point, Favor picked up the wooden spoon and stirred so vigorously, so nervously, that a chunk of unground ogbono seed flew clean out of the pot and landed somewhere near the fridge, never to be seen again. The pot never once achieved the smooth, stretchy consistency ogbono is famous for. Instead, it sat there watery on one side, lumpy and scorched on the other, with a bitter, over-peppered smell rising off it thick enough to make Mama Rebecca's eyes water from the doorway alone.
Ogbono is not supposed to be watery like Gary soaked for 5 minutes, Mama Rebecca said, fanning the smell away from her face with her wrapper. And this smell? Favor, my dear, did you cook this or did you offend it first? Wanda, now watching from the dining room with a cup of chilled zobo in hand, had never enjoyed a kitchen disaster so thoroughly in her life. 20 long minutes later, Favor emerged with a small pot of what could generously be called ogbono soup, her forehead damp, her red dress slightly stained at the hem, a streak of pepper powder across one cheek she hadn't noticed. Her earlier confidence completely evaporated. She set it on the table with the enthusiasm of a woman presenting evidence against herself. It's a bit different from what I remember making, Favor admitted quietly, refusing to make eye contact with anyone. Zion, desperate to smooth things over and prove, mostly to himself, that his earlier comment hadn't been completely foolish, grabbed a spoon and dug in immediately, without waiting, without blowing on it, without even glancing at the suspiciously dark color of the stew. Zion, wait, Wanda started, but it was already too late. The reaction was instant. Zion's eyes went wide, then watery, then wider still. His face contorted through at least 4 different expressions in under 2 seconds. Shock, betrayal, agony, and finally pure fire. He grabbed for the water jug and drank straight from it, coughing, fanning his open mouth with his hand like a man trying to put out a house fire with air alone. "Ah, water, water," he gasped, nearly knocking his chair backward. "Is it sweet?" Wanda asked, calmly, sipping her zobo, not moving an inch to help him. "Zion, you said her food was better now. Talk now. Is it better?" Zion could not speak. His tongue, his throat, his entire digestive system had entered a state of emergency. He grabbed a piece of bread and stuffed it whole into his mouth, eyes streaming, chest heaving, looking like a man who had just been personally attacked by Pepe itself. Mama Rebecca, unbothered, dipped one careful, testing, fingers worth onto a spoon, tasted it and immediately dropped the spoon back into the pot like it had offended her ancestors. Haba! This one never even reached food status. It's just hot water with anger inside it. Favor, my dear, no vex, but whoever told you can cook lied to you a long time ago. And Zion, God would judge you for opening your mouth on behalf of this. Favor buried her face in her hands, half laughing, half mortified. "I told them I should have just brought a bottle of wine." Zion, still fanning his mouth, could only manage a strangled, "Wanda, please, more water," while Wanda calmly refilled his cup, taking her time, clearly enjoying every second of her husband's suffering just a little too much.
"So," Mama Rebecca said, turning fully to face her son now that the evidence had been served, tested and rejected in record time. "This is the woman whose cooking you said was better than your wife's, a woman who nearly killed you with pepper in your own dining room? Zion, answer me, was it worth it? Was your one careless sentence worth almost choking to death in front of your mother?" "No, Mama," Zion croaked, voice still raw, eyes still watering. "Then learn," Mama Rebecca said, straightening her wrapper, voice dropping into the tone of a woman delivering final judgment. "A man's mouth will always run faster than his sense if he doesn't train it. You don't compare your wife to another woman based on old memory and empty talk. Today, your own mouth and your own belly have punished you better than I ever could. Let this be the lesson your stomach teaches you, since your brain refused to learn it quietly." "Yes, Mama," Zion whispered, still clutching his water cup like a lifeline. Favor, gathering what remained of her dignity, stood up to leave not long after, apologizing profusely for the ruined soup and thanking Wanda strangely for one of the most humbling nights of her life. Mama Rebecca, true to her nature, still packed her a small takeaway of the good jollof rice on her way out, muttering that at least somebody in this house should eat properly tonight. She hugged Wanda tightly at the door, whispered something that made Wanda smile, and finally left with her empty nylon bag, her judgment fully delivered. When the door finally clicked shut behind Mama Rebecca and Favor, the house fell quiet. Zion, recovering slowly, his mouth finally cooling down, actually let out a small relieved laugh, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand. "Ah, thank God that's over. See wahala. But at least now I know Favor's food is nothing serious. Baby, no vex. But you, Seth, sometimes your soup could use small more pepper like tonight's own. That kind of heat, that's what separates correct cooking from just..." Wanda, who had been quietly clearing the table, paused mid-motion, one plate suspended in her hand. "Zion, Zion, she said softly, setting the plate down with the gentlest, most terrifying click. "You are still comparing. After everything, after your own tongue nearly resigned tonight?" No, baby, I wasn't comparing. I was just saying..." "Sit down," Wanda said, and something in her voice made him sit immediately, like a schoolboy hearing the head teacher's cane tap the desk. She walked calmly to the side table, picked up her phone, and turned the screen toward him. On it was a video. The entire kitchen disaster, Zion's coughing fit, his desperate gulping of water, all of it recorded from the very beginning, time-stamped and clear. "Zion, you've been filming?" Zion's voice cracked in horror. The whole time, Wanda said sweetly, "I thought Toberna and the rest of the office boys who already knew about your ex was better gist deserved to see how that story actually ended. I'll be sending it to the family group chat tonight, right after I finish washing these plates. Let everyone see for themselves whose cooking was truly better." "Wanda, please, baby, delete it now, now, now." Zion was on his feet, reaching for the phone, but Wanda was already halfway to the kitchen, phone held high above her head, laughing softly to herself in a way that was somehow both loving and utterly merciless. Zion," I called back over her shoulder. "You wanted comparison so much. Let the whole family compare small, small." And that, my people, is how Zion learned properly, painfully, and on video for the whole family to see that a careless mouth doesn't just start wahala. Sometimes it gets recorded, time-stamped, and shared in 10810p for evidence.
Thank you for watching till the end of the story. We still have favors ogbono in the pot. Subscribe now before Mama Rebecca forces you to eat it. See you in our next episode. Bye!